Mr. Deity.
Oops, sound effects too early, but family, you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. For those that don't know, that is the sound of the phoenix, which is the the totem animal of Gye-Nyame. You know, I just want y'all to know that. And you are now joining us for the Daily Toast. And of course, this is a Heart of December production. Well, we strive to blow up your old paradigm. Oh, man. Get that water moving in you, bruh. Get that water moving in you, sis. Let's come on, drink with me. Drink with me. This is my last glass for the moment. We're going to toast it up on this marvelous Ujamaa. For those that don't know, today is Ujamaa, and we are rapidly moving into Kwanzaa season. That sacred holiday that celebrates the return of the great pumpkin is coming. We're moving rapidly towards that quarter day, right? That quarter day was a quarter. Was a half and a quarter. What's a half and a quarter put together? Half and a quarter is 75%. I don't know if they got a coin for that, but we move into one of those days. They call them quarter days. You know what I'm saying? It's like halfway in between the equinox and the solstice. We're moving rapidly towards it, and that day is known in this side of the world as Halloween. For those that don't know, do your studies on the concept of Halloween, because a lot of y'all think that we lose a lot of stuff. We forget a lot of stuff. Many of us never knew a lot of shit, right? I mean, because the whole concept of this system is to really keep us ignorant, ignorant, right? And there's a difference between being ignorant and just not knowing. And I know some of you are like, brother, I tell him, what are you talking about? Ignorance. The root of ignorance is ignore. So it kind of throws a different light on it. See, a motherfucker that don't know just don't know. And you could tell when you're talking with somebody that don't know. You understand what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, it's not frustrating talking with somebody that don't know, especially somebody who knows how to learn, which is something that a lot of us have not been taught how to do. What's crazy is that when you look at the process of learning is something that comes with culture. Every culture learns in a specific way. And when a person has been taught culture, like for example, one of the things that my grandfather used to grill into me was how to greet people. Right? And I know y'all like, brother, I tell you, what the hell that got to do with learning? Give me a second. So, my grandfather, every time he saw me, he would be like, well, let me say his name because he's an ancestor, Cleveland Brown. Yeah, I named Cleveland after my grandfather. That's right. You know what I'm saying? The most powerful man that has ever been in my life. We'll say one of them because I got many powerful men, and I'm blessed to still have some of them around. Well, anyway, he would walk past me and be like, good morning, how you doing? And I say, fine. And I keep it moving. How you doing? I'm fine. That shit was cool when I was 5. That shit was cool and acceptable when I was 6. When I was 7, it started getting kind of irritated. When I was 8, it moved a little bit from irritation to the Sanford and Son, you big dummy. 9. How you doing? I'm doing good. Keep it moving. And finally one day he stopped me. And he was very agitated. I'm like, damn, what did I do? Why are you so mad? I didn't know. I was about to learn a cultural lesson. An important step in me perfecting my skills of learning. So he said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good, people. Kept it moving. He said, whoa. Sit down. Let me talk to you. Now, up to this point, my grandfather never really, I might not remember, but this is the first conversation that I remember where he's asking me to sit down and talk with him. He said, son, when a person asks you how you doing, it's customary for you to ask them in return how they're doing. Do you think the world revolves around you? And everybody's just concerned about how you doing? You don't think that it's your responsibility to ask other people how they doing? I said, well, I didn't know. I'm sorry. And in the traditional upset fashion in the way that my family teaches, you know what I'm saying? Because this is some shit that I was just supposed to pick up. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do. You know what I'm saying? That was some shit you was just supposed to pick up. So from that day on, it's like, somebody asks me how I'm doing, I ask them how they doing. I try to make sure that my kids learn. You know what I'm saying? How you doing? Now, what that got to do with learning? It allows me to at least, even though the empathy wasn't there at first, because at first I really didn't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I just would say it. How you doing? You know what I'm saying? It gave me the ability to start practicing and put me in situations where I would have to practice empathy. Because I would have to ask, when I asked some people really took time to let me know how they were doing. And I really had to start learning how to give a fuck. Now, a lot of y'all like, well, hey, what's important about that? Learning, empathy. See, in order to learn, you have to be able to feel the other individual. You know what I'm saying? You have to, in a sense, surrender part of yourself so that you can start listening. And a lot of our young people don't have these lessons. And once again, it's not their fault because they don't know. They don't know. Right? You know, so getting back to the whole ignorant piece, they don't know how to practice. They're not forced to practice the empathy. They don't have to practice the empathy. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't really have to talk to people like I used to have to talk to people. Some of them might not even go around any elders because like my grandparents forced us to go to church. So that means, you know, as long as my grandmother had a hold on our little tribe, our little clan, all the young people had to attend Beulah Baptist Church. So this means that every Sunday we was going to a place that had a mixture of young folks and old folks. And the first thing that the old folks will start doing with you is asking you, oh, baby, how you doing? And once you start telling them and responding to them, oh, I'm doing fine. How about you, man? Oh, I'm doing good. You know, it was kind of a rough weekend. You have to sit there and listen and be like, man, you know, what they doing over there? But hold on, let me focus. Okay, yes, man. I hope this week do better. Well, yes, man. I'll try to come by. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, oh, boom, boom, boom. Then you start making promises, and then you start living up to your promises. That's that empathy, right? Now, what does that have to do with learning, right? Because when you practice empathy, another thing you got to practice is you got to practice being humble. Now, I kind of mentioned this the other day. A lot of our young people, because of the way they communicate and some of the ways that they receive stuff, they don't have to give a fuck about how you feel because they're going to get it anyway. A lot of them, if they don't like how you treating them, some of them can go to different places and get what they want. If the parents don't have a solid relationship, the children could play each parent against the other. So they don't have to practice empathy. And then if we include the state or the city or whatever, the county that's involved in all personal relationships, if the child don't like what you're doing, they could tell on you. So they don't have to practice empathy. They don't have to give a fuck about how you feel. So how do you learn when you don't have empathy? Now let's bring it back to ignorance. The difference between ignorance and just not knowing. A motherfucker that's just really dumb, that's just, you know what I'm saying? Because even stupid in many cases nowadays is a choice. Because in all of our pockets we have a exhaustive library that we could pull up. We could carry books. You know what I'm saying? I carry 200 books with me, at least personal books, personal lectures that I have access to 24 hours a day. And if my wife could sleep with me playing this shit, I would. That's just how I am. Because I realize the wealth of information and a lot of the fantasies that I had when I was young are made available for me. I used to always want to tape myself reading and be able to listen to shit while I was asleep, or have somebody read a book to me, or have a book that I could listen to, or always have access to the information. And now I'm living in an age where that shit is possible. Get back to the ignorant, Brother Hatim. Well, in dealing with the elders that I dealt with coming up, in moving slowly but surely towards eldership myself, I'm learning more and more the importance of the roots of words. And when you look at the root word of ignorant, it means to ignore. Ignorant for me would be to walk into a room and somebody asks me how I'm doing, and I look right at them and say fine and keep it moving. Because my grandfather taught me that would be culturally inappropriate of me. You understand? To ignore. And when you talking to somebody that's ignorant, purposefully ignorant, you know it. Because they're ignoring the truth. They're ignoring the reality. You know what I'm saying? And people get upset when you tell them, motherfucker, look, dude, that shit ignorant. You ignorant. What I'm saying is, no. See, because we take it as, you're stupid. And you shouldn't tell somebody that's stupid that they're stupid. That's not right. And I can't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Because a truly stupid motherfucker, right, who knows how to learn, will ask you questions that will get you to start thinking about the shit that you're talking about. And in the process of you thinking, they will set you thinking, and then they will start thinking, and then y'all can start learning together. But when you're talking to an ignorant motherfucker that's just ignoring the shit, ignoring the facts, ignoring whatever you have to say, ignoring. And a lot of us have been taught ignorance. It's a tool that we lean on so that we can hold on to outdated faiths, to shit that no longer serves us or serve our people. In order for people to stay hostage, in order for people to stay captive, in order for people to stay enslaved, they have to be taught how to be ignorant. Walk into some of our schools and watch a lot of these young people ignore. Walk into some of these colleges, talk with some of these, watch them ignore. They won't even ask questions. They will literally, there are individuals that will literally be getting a life talk and will ignore it right there. And it's not that they don't know. And I think part of the cognizant dissonance of our people is getting to such a level where it's becoming so apparent to us that we have to be a little bit more ignorant now. And when I say ignorant, it means like, not only am I ignoring you, I'm disrespecting you. So I don't give a damn if I'm here and I'm supposed to be learning. I'm going to talk about some bullshit with somebody else. I'm going to take other people's attention. Even though you have the floor. My fault. You had the floor. So, ignorance is a lot different than just not knowing. Ignorance is a process that is purposeful. Don't know, brother Kwame say, don't know and don't care to know. Keep that black shit. I don't want to hear that black shit. You know, niggas say shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like arguing with you. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's like, it ain't even necessarily arguing. A lot of times, I try to draw people into conversations. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, I have to be a trickster. That's what one of my older sisters used to call me. You know what I'm saying? There you go with that trickster shit. You know what I'm saying? Because oftentimes, you have to trick our people into learning. You got to trick them into changing the perspective, because the PC is family. We have to be aware that we're at war. I know my last class. I'm sorry. And I constantly got to push that. We are at war. Every time we come together and toast, we are rallying part of an important part of our troops. Do y'all not understand that? In the battle that we're going into, we're going to have to pull on not only our physical strength, we're going to have to pull on our intuitional strength, in which our ancestors is part of. We're going to have to pull on our mental strength, which our ancestors are part of. We're going to have to pull on our emotional strength, which our ancestors are part of. And we're going to have to pull on our spiritual strength, which our ancestors are part of. And all that shit is going to fuel the body. Because I'm going to tell you something now. Those of you who have never pushed yourself, right? When you start pushing yourself for something bigger than yourself, it's a lot easier to get up in the morning. When I'm getting up because I realize that I got people waiting for me, you understand what I'm saying? There's a possibility that somebody waiting for me. It's a lot easier for me to get up because it's not necessarily I'm getting up for me, but I'm getting up to help others. I'm getting up to be up and commune with others. But then what's even deeper, when I think about that, my grandparents need me to get up. We ignore, or some of us, we ignore the cause of our ancestors. Nigga, if you smoke a cigarette, flip one of them over, and the last one, before you indulge with it, remember your ancestors and pour the shit out. If you drinking your liquor and shit, take some time and pour some out to your ancestors. Think about your ancestors. We ignore the call. You know what I'm saying? You ever been in a situation where you be with people and all of a sudden, just out of the blue, somebody just waste some shit? And you be like, oh, that's an accident. Y'all wipe this shit up. Could that be our ancestors saying, nigga, I want to drink too? Would you think the world just revolve around you? You don't think we need a drink? You don't think we need food? You don't think we need to be talked about every now and then? More consistently than just Thanksgiving and Christmas? How about daily? I wiped your ass daily until you was old enough to wipe your own ass. I sat with you daily until you was old enough to sit with yourself. I allowed you to exist in my house until beyond the point where I should have put your smart mouth ass out my house. But you know, we ignore that, right? Part of that learning thing, right? So, you know, I'm drinking and we're going to do the libations. I'm sorry, the toast. We on Ujamaa and family. September is rapidly coming to an end. We're moving into October. We are into Kwanzaa season. And I want to make sure that I get out to everybody that we have begun raising funds for this year's Kwanzaa celebration. It's time for us to start embracing our days, our holy days, our high days, our community building days, and take responsibility and start making sure that shit happens in a big way. It's time for us to start competing with the attention that the dope boys get. It's time for us to start competing with the fucked up rap artists out there. It's time for us to start vying for our people's attention. It's time for us to start representing our ancestors and start pulling our tribe together because we're coming into a crucial time. I was talking to my young ladies yesterday, and the idea of a picture start coming up because, you know, I really believe in systems. I believe in I believe that the universe and our ancestors speaks to us and send us messages, and I'm not liking the picture, even though this picture has been developing for a lot of us for a long time. I'm not liking the picture that I'm seeing, the picture that we're ignoring. Do y'all not know that in Puerto Rico, there's a lot of people that look like us? I mean, actually, you know, Puerto Rico is our cousins. Puerto Rico is an island of a mixed group of African descendants, and we are on day 9, 10, and they still are not receiving help. American citizens. the commander-in-chief of this country is giving them lip service. They look like us. He giving lip service. Motherfuckers is not offended by that. But hey, don't take a knee. Don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't dare protest, right? See, the message is loud and clear. But many of us don't want to. We ignore it. We ignore it. We're ignoring the fact that somewhere in Puerto Rico there's a brother that looks like me that does not have access to drinking water. An American citizen who voted, maybe even voted in the last election. An American citizen. Looking like you. Not receiving the full aid of the United States of America when he or she is a United States citizen. I'm just saying, family. So the picture that started popping up for me while I was talking to these young ladies, because it's like they're oblivious and they don't know, because it's not their fault. That they don't know if we don't tell them. They don't know if we don't have the conversations. They don't know. It's not, you know what I'm saying? And the only reason they are able, if they are ignorant, the only way they're able to practice ignorance is because, let me say this, ignorance is a learned behavior. So I guess some learning is going on. Because you have to know what to ignore, right? Alright, so let's do this toast. Alright, let's shouts out to Brother Kwame, shouts out to Brother Sean McGill, shouts out to Jeff Hodges. I want to thank y'all for joining me. Let's finish this toast up. No ambrosia today. It's still brewing. Got it down the basement. But what I do have is Maestro V sent me another thing. I got another thing of apple cider. Freshly pressed, and as you can hear, live. Family, start drinking live things. Learn how to make some things with your hands, or learn to go out and find people who are practicing crafts where they are able to give you healthy live food. A lot of y'all are taking vitamins. A lot of y'all are taking minerals. But the question that I have to ask is it alive? Right? Is it contributing necessary things to your body? Because this whole microbiome shit is just blowing my mind. I'm learning new things about it every day. And we need live things. So as you heard, the apple cider spoke to me. And I can't wait to get hold of some of this and mix this with some ambrosia and let it sit for about 3 to 4 days and let them fight it out and see what type of combination I got coming up. So now, first, we want to toast the Creator by whatever name you choose to call it Creator. We call on that great force, and we refuse to ignore the message from this great force, the ultimate ancestors, the Creator, but whatever name you choose to call. We lift up our glass and we say, Ashe, that's right. From there, we move on to our personal ancestors. We call on those loved ones. We send them energy and we accept their energy. We send them thoughts and we accept the thoughts that they send us. We toast our ancestors and we ask them to be active in our life. We ask them to be present at our family gatherings because they still are family. People talk about extended family. You know what I'm saying? Open up your arms and open up your eyes so that you can start welcoming back your grandparents. Allow them to come to the place. You know what I'm saying? Because in a minute, family, some of us gonna be moving to, when we have holiday celebrations, we gonna start having empty chairs where nobody could sit. You know what I'm saying? Spaces at the table with a plate that is served up so that the ancestors can eat with us. I'm trying to tell you, family, we moving into a new time. People learning about finances and shit, which is a beautiful thing. People learning about politics, which is a beautiful thing. The angle we bringing in the ancestors, right? Because what good is financial knowledge when you don't got no tips? And guess who bring you the tips? Who know more and have more access to secret information than those individuals on the other side? And when we stop ignoring the lessons and stop ignoring the messages, and we start listening, not only, using, because you got the first eye, or what people call the third eye. What about that third ear? You start listening and hearing that spiritual wisdom. You start hearing that spiritual communication. So we call on those ancestors and we ask them and let them know we're listening. Family, we listening. We lift up the glass to our grandmothers and our grandfathers, our mothers and our fathers, our brothers and our sisters, our uncles and our aunts, our friends and our cousins and our nieces and our nephews, and all those that made their transition before us. All those upon whose shoulders we stand upon. We lift up the glass. And I'm going to say mine. I hope that you say yours. If you have ancestors that you want me to salute for you while I'm live on here, by all means, post them up. Sending shots out to Miles Brown, Miss Ann, Robert and Tex Hunter Davis, Herman Brown Sr., Rosalie Tilley, Georgia and William Walton, Chris and Fanny Gatson, Aunt Lena, Uncle Chris, Aunt Fiend, Geneva Brown, Cleveland Brown, Margaret Ellis, Wash Ellis, Cecil Ellis, Elvira Brown, Gina Gaines, Barbara Twiggs, my uncle Herman, Herman Brown II, my aunt Katie Ellis, my cousin Nikki Ellis, Jamon Jones, Jeremiah Tappan, John Fallard, Montague Pittman-El, Dr. Marianne Williams, Tony Clark, Elder Mark Walsh, Ed Sparks, I don't know if I said Tony Clark, Terrell Dunbar, Ajani, Brother Nomo X, big ups, Brother Sapet Ma Ra, Elder Farmer, because he's not on this list that I'm about to read, and all those that I didn't remember. So, coming from the Tawi family, ancestors that are acknowledged on the brochure: Elder Robert Donaldson, Alfred Bro Fro Actor Jr., Jay Edwards, Carlisle Harris, Grace Lundy, Inez Harris, William Bill Moss, Phyllis Rose. Alright, family, send a message out so that we can start growing this list, because if I got lists like this, I'll read it until it's too long, and I just have to start posting up a picture. That's where I wanted to get. I wanted to get that we're calling on so many ancestors that shit start happening in our community. That's what I know. You know what I'm saying? That's the science I know, right? Because I have had personal, what they call ancestral intercessions, where your ancestors intercede on your behalf. I don't know if any of y'all been in a situation where somebody has interceded for you. Like you might have been mixed up in some bullshit, and somebody who had the juice just walk up in the middle of the motherfucking room and pull you out. I don't know what's about to go down here, but this motherfucker right here, he with me. Get your shit. Let's go. Pack up. Let's go. Boom. He out. Saved your life. You know how many times my life has been saved like that? Right? So I know it's real. And then hell, let alone how many times have you had the feeling in your gut and you listen, and then you turn around and you find out a whole bunch of crazy shit popped off. Come on, family. Our ancestors is real. This is real. This ain't pretend. This ain't play. And we got to start treating it as such. We got to start treating it as such. Science teaches us the law of conservation of energy says that that shit cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred from one state to another. That's you. That's our ancestors. They've been transformed or transmutated from one form into another. And for us to ignore, I mean, shit, we got the spiritual lessons coming. We got the scientific knowledge. But yet we ignore the shit. We ignore the fact that our ancestors are sitting on the other side starving and in some cases confused because they don't understand why we're doing the shit that we're doing and why we're ignoring them. Do you know many of our ancestors are out here wondering because they're confused and they might not even know that they made a transition and they can't understand why everybody's ignoring them? Do you know hell for African is being forgotten and being forced to wander in a spiritual realm with nothing? You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine your grandparents just starving? Can you imagine them being forgotten? Can you imagine them in hell? And that's what we condemn them to? This is what the modern day spiritual faith got us doing to our ancestors. Oh, just ignore that. Not on my watch. Fuck that. Because my kids are going to need the ancestors. As I drive and I listen to the news, my children's going to need the ancestors. They're going to need that little wisdom voice whispering to them. So the Kwanzaa committee put together a list of individuals that people wanted recognized. Sterling and Lucy Wright, Derek L. Pulliam, the Luxter brothers, Mrs. Edith Brooks Crawley, Miss Marie Nelson, Mr. Frederick Crawley Sr., Miss Jerry Brunson, Mr. Alonzo Johnson, Miss Marie McDowell. So we lift up our glass to all those ancestors and we say Ashe. From there, we move to the present moment, and I won't get all into the present moment. We know that today is Ujamaa, and we know that we're prepping our reticular formation to start hunting for examples of cooperative economics going on in our community. We're looking for the principle of reciprocity. We're looking for the principle of gratitude. These are things that pop up on this day. And we are going to use our reticular formation. We're going to use our hunting instinct to find these things in our community and possibly post about them and talk about them and have a conversation about them with those that are awake, that are awake enough to have the conversation so that we can start building on that energy. So we toast the moment. Because right now, in the now is our power. From there, we move to our children, our children's children to infinity. It's important that we salute our children now. It's important that we let them know what they are doing properly. So every time you get an opportunity, salute them. Not just check them. We check them, right? But salute them. And salute them on some shit that belongs to them. Don't salute them just because they get A's and shit. Find something that they are good at. Find something that they are doing right and compliment them. Once again, using that reticular formation, looking, you find what you're looking for. A lot of us, because we're looking for bad shit with our kids, we constantly find it. But I'm saying, look, turn on that reticular formation and start looking for some of the good things so that you can salute where your child is. Salute them. You know, big up the talents. And not necessarily the ones that you would think, you know what I'm saying, that you would want to salute. Everybody's not a scholar. Everybody's not going to get A's and shit. Plus that shit is somebody else saying, I certify your child. Fuck that. Certify your own child. Hell, we need to get into certifying ourselves. But that's another conversation. Now, so we toast them. right? We're building legacy, right? Toast them. Last but not least, family, I toast you. I'm saying, I hope you had your water this morning. I hope you got your healthy drink. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about some of the options for healthy drinks, because some of the shit out there is going to surprise some of y'all, right? Because all of us can't drink the same shit, and all of us ain't having the same effect, so we need to start learning ourselves. So right now I got this apple cider. Hopefully tomorrow I have some ambrosia. But with that, I toast, and we say, well, I wish you peace, power, joy, and 100 years. We're gonna play another B Jazz cut on our way out. So go on and drink up, family. I hope I had the mic on. All right, cool. All right, cool. Let's go and find this, because this one is a salute that Brother B Jazz on his Four Corners album. It's a hot album. It's a very, very conscious album. Let me put it that way. It's like, if you're looking for some shit to really groove to, you know what I'm saying? That has a hip hop feel, that has a jazz feel, that has an R&B feel. You know what I'm saying? This album is it. So those of you that know B Jazz, if you didn't know about his album, ask him about it. Support his work. He bringing a lot of local artists into his piece. I mean, it's pretty hot. So go and check it out. Here we go. This one right here is called A Tribute to Fela by B Jazz.
You see, the way I started to write my music, it's like I was born a Korean boy. I went to Korean school. I went to England to study music and everything. Then something changed me completely. To see that I wasn't
For all of those that are talking about their revolutionaries, all right, talking about their conscience, I'm going to suggest heavily that you listen to Brother Fela. Let me say this to you. I've been doing videos, I've been doing podcasts for a long time, and I play a lot of music on my podcast. And sometimes, and a lot of times I pull from other artists. The only artist that I have played where my shit has been blocked in other countries is Fela. Fela is one of the coldest. You don't have to agree with his politics. You don't have to agree with his relationships. But when it came to laying down that revolutionary energy, and I know a lot of y'all love Bob Marley. Bob Marley, big ups, big respect. But I'm telling you right now, when it comes to that revolutionary music, Fela was the man. Listen to me. Get some Fela. And I know, because you need patience to listen to him, because Fela's music be like 28 minutes long. You know what I'm saying? My favorite song is 35 minutes. Confusion Break Bones. But you go through the music, and after you get to the music and you really start breaking down what the fuck he's saying, you be like, God damn. Shit, I'm surprised they allowed this motherfucker to live as long as he did. But hey, I'm out. I want to thank everybody. And of course, you know, I have to remind you that you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Sorry for the feedback of those that's listening to the podcast. And to really keep up with us, because I'm going to eventually be moving almost totally to podcast. Once again, y'all going to have to sign up for Gye-Nyame Journey. Go to GyeNyameJourney.com, and all of my latest podcasts will be popping up. I will eventually be uploading a show called The Daily Toast. Right now, this is going up under Gye-Nyame Journey because Gye-Nyame Journey has a open radio on my site. And of course, you know, you have joined us at The Daily Toast, and this is a Heart of December production, where we strive to blow up your old paradigm.